good idea going forward for 2010?
Let me say, I think that most of our opportunity starts with the negative that the governing party is not fit to govern. If that's not there, we don't have a chance. And we had that in detail with the Democrats after 40 years and with Clinton after 2 years. Then the public doesn't like to have a negative campaign. You must give them, I believe, something positive. Partially, it is a tonal thing. You shouldn't seem to be seen as negative. And if you can find something that it has some traction that you believe in, you should run on it. We did what we wanted to do. We had 10 issues. We actually had about 14, which we compacted into 10. All of which were 60% approval or more in polling. They were basically classic Reagan principles. The only one that wasn't 60%, by the way, was the defense budget. We just refused not to include increase in defense spending because we couldn't be ourselves and not have that in there. And the public still cared about those issues. So we could run on those issues. They were uniting issues. They were uniting 60% at least of the electorate. My only concern with, and the reason why it's hard to do it, Newt was the only one who's really done a real agenda from Congress, is that either it's mush that doesn't even use it, but nobody cares, or if it's a real comprehensive immigration solution is going to be divisive. It's, healthcare proposals, assuming you want something other than free markets, I don't, but if you did, are divisive. You see how hard it is. One of the reasons that the minority party has a chance to do well is if a majority party takes on a difficult issue and divides the country. So you don't want to replicate that mistake by taking on an issue that's going to divide. Now, if you can find strong things you believe in that connect with the public, you should champion them. It makes you a stronger party running. We were lucky enough to be able to find those issues. The public cared about them. They happen to fit in with the problems of the time. Classic Reagan issues fit in with the failures of Clinton and the liberal Democratic Congress. To the extent that we can find this set, we should do it. But the mechanics again. We didn't do the contract announcement until September 27th. 6 weeks before the election. Everything else was before that. Now we had a huge explosion. The next day, those 10 items were on the front page of almost every daily in the country. And in fact, it was a genuine positive to have that, both substantively, because the public believed that it had it, and it was also tonally good that we were able to be positive in the close of the campaign, talking about what we believed in, having spent the last, for me, since 1995, 4.5 years, being negative about them. So I don't want to eschew negativity. Negativity is fundamental, and then you also want to have the positive if you can find it. It's going to be tough, though, at this moment, I think, to find a really grabbing set of conservative principles or moderate principles that the public's going to believe is an alternative, because they kind of think that plans, which were left-wing plans, to comprehensively solve health care. You're not going to solve things comprehensively in the marketplace. The nature of the marketplace is hundreds of millions of individual free people making decisions that eventually has a good effect. But it's easier to describe one leader, with one plan for one set of necks. Last question.
Last question. What do you think about our current state of our relationship between America and England, and also what's going on with Gordon Brown? He's dropped in third place in the polls. What's going on?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I'm an American citizen unlike most people, I actually chose it. I had to swear under oath to be loyal, and so far I think I've kept the oath. But although my opposition is England has been, obviously, had a special relationship with us, at least since World War II. We've had cultural relations going, obviously, back to the beginning. Although there's long been a different strain as well. During the beginning of the Falklands War, there was a wonderful woman, then, I guess, UN Ambassador G. Kirkpatrick, and a series of other conservatives who were somewhat anti-English and sort of the Rooseveltian anti-colonial empire kind of attitude, and were reaching out to countries, soft authoritarians like Argentina, and there was quite a fight in the Reagan White House between supporting England or not. Now, Cap Weinberger championed the fight, and Reagan obviously made the final decision to give logistic support to the British fleet as it went down to the South Atlantic, which it could not have done without American logistic support. And then Cap Weinberger was knighted by the Queen years later for that act of great generosity. So there is some ambiguity. Since World War II, it's been a strong relationship. It's probably going to fade as England and France and Germany fade in critical importance and Asia increases. But I think it's being precipitated by some hostility that the current president has. There's been some speculation that because his father may have been, who was born in Kenya, may have been the victim of colonial police during the British era, that it was resentment. He sent back the sculpture that England had given the White House of Winston Churchill, sent it back to the embassy, one of his first things he did when he became president. And he's been seemingly pretty rude to both the president and to the prime minister. And it may be due to inexperience. Interestingly, with the exception of Rahm Emanuel, who's not a master of good manners, I don't see any senior person on that staff who has any White House experience, which is kind of curious. But I don't think that the temporary messiness is going to change whatever the fundamentals of that relationship will exist as long as the fundamentals, that is the cultural connections, the interest in the world, and the capacity of both countries to contribute to a relationship exists. As long as that's the case, I think that special relationship will exist, but it will probably weaken over time. Thank you.
Tony, thank you very, very much.